Welcome to ColorKit. I'm Andy Filicati, the creator of ColorKit, and I thought I'd give you a little demo of what ColorKit can do and why you'd want to use it. Now, ColorKit is a great resource for designers, developers, anybody making creative graphics. You're going to love ColorKit. So you can see here, I'm already on the site, and we're going to use our #1 tool here, the color palette generator. This is the main tool on our site. It lets you generate a color palette using a bunch of harmonious tones, and it has an algorithm that I actually made that produces a nice range of colors for you. So the main function here in the color palette generator is the generate button, of course, on the bottom. So we can click generate, and you can see we're scrolling through different color palettes. And if you want to add more colors to your palette, you can just hit plus here, and you can see we're making a larger color palette now. So I'm just going to go through a couple here. And a little pro tip, you can also hit space to easily go through the palettes quickly if you're just trying to find something really fast. Now, I've also made a bunch of additional options here at the bottom. You can adjust colors in your palette. So if you like the shades, for example, or how the colors are, you could change the hue. You can see how I'm changing the hues here. You can change the brightnesses, the saturation of all the colors, or the color temperature. Let's make this one a little bit cooler, and we'll hit apply. And you can see that change all of the colors in our palette currently. So I'm going to generate a palette that's a little more varied here. Let me keep going. Now I like this one here. There's also a color palette contrast checker here that I'll actually compare all of the colors together and show you which ones will work in terms of an accessible color palette. And also we have an options button here. You can click this, and here you can pick the generator method. So if you want everything to be the similar colors, you want it to be complementary, things like that. Let me do triadic here, and you can see how that works. So you can see we're using 3 colors basically primarily in this generator. This would work a lot better if we have 3 colors, so I'm going to delete a couple here, and you can see how it's picking 3 colors that work together. Of course, I like to keep it on auto, and if you want, you can also sort it by brightness if you'd like, but I prefer just keeping it on auto and showing how it works like that. So I'm going to add 2 more colors back in here. And of course, you can manually pick everything here. So if you want to manually pick a color to have in your palette, and then you want to lock it, this will lock it, so when I generate more, it'll just keep that one locked, as you can see here. And you can also move the colors around here. So you can see here, I just moved it to the right using this little button right here. And there's also a randomize button if you'd like to use that. And if you hover over between 2 colors, it'll have some inspiration there. You can see how it kind of picks colors that would work between the 2 colors. I like this green here, we'll add that in. And if you want to copy any of the hex colors, of course, you can just click on the hex color here and it'll copy it to your clipboard instantly. Now, once you find a color palette that you like, of course, you can hit save down here if you're logged in. You can see there's a bunch of options here. I can name it, or I can use the auto naming option, and that's the name it picked here. You can add it to a specific project. So if you have a bunch of clients and you want to save a bunch of color palettes, you can just pick a project, or you can add an image and add an image to the color palette to visualize what it's all about there. So let me exit this here, and I'm going to hit export. This is the main function of the color palette generator. So we can copy a URL if you want to share it to somebody. You can hit the code button to find comma separated values, things like that of all the hex values. You can share it to social networks, or you can download an Adobe swatch file or save it as a PNG, which will be an image. Now, in addition to the color palette generator, there's also a palette library. So this is from people also contributing to the site and then favoriting palettes. So you can see here, you can click this little heart button if you're logged in and actually favorite palettes. By default, we sort by the most liked palettes. As you can see here, the top one has about 600 likes. And you can scroll through here. There's thousands of palettes. You can just keep going for days basically here. And if you like a color in a palette and you want to quickly copy it, of course, you can hover over here and just click on the hex color. Or if you want to open the palette up, you can click the palette up top. And this will bring you to the palette viewer. So you could share the link to this page to anybody you want. And of course, you can bring it into the color palette generator and edit it yourself and tweak it how you'd like. So if you want to add another color here, or you want to remove a color, it's as simple as that. In addition to the color palette options, I also made a gradient creator and gradient inspiration. I'm a web developer primarily, so I love gradients. Putting them in my designs is so much fun. So this is a great way to sort through gradients here. You can see we have tons of options here that people have made and upvoted. And just like the palettes, you can click like if you like one and add them to your profile instantly. And we have different sorting options here, or you can create a gradient using our gradient editor. And you can just hit random here. You can see how it's going through a bunch of fun different colors. You can even do a third color if you'd like. And just like the palette generator, you can export it or save it to a project. Now those are the two main tools on ColorKit, but I've made a ton of other color tools that I think you'll love. By hovering over tools, you can see here, there's a bunch of different options. The color picker is really popular. We have a color contrast checker, which will actually compare two colors together to actually show you accessible color palettes. So you can see here, if I make the colors too similar, it'll actually fail the color ratio here. But we have a little magic button here that'll automatically pick a color that'll work with that ratio for accessibility, and you can, of course, you can swap them here. This is important because you don't want colors to be too similar, so people who have color blindness, for example, won't be able to determine what they're looking at. So this is a great tool for that. And you can see I also made a gradient palette generator, a shade generator, a color palette from image tool, an SVG color changer, and a background maker. I really like the color palette from image tool. Let me show you that real quick. You can see by default it has an image up here, but you can select a photo, and you can even use Unsplash and search if you'd like, or just pick some of the top photos here. So if you like a photo color palette, you can click it and it'll actually automatically make a color palette from that image. And just like the other tools, you can export it and you can bring it into the editor if you'd like, or you can create a collage. And this is really fun to share on social. You can see how I'm moving everything around here. Maybe you want to move the subject. Really simple. And there's also different aspect ratios depending on where you're sharing the image. Let me also show you the color picker. So I'll go to the color picker. This is a great way to find shades and hues and different variations of colors that work together. So on the top here, you can just pick any color you'd like or paste in a hex color. You can see how I'm just going through the colors here. All the colors have names on the site, so you can see the name of the color and the hex value, and also different variations of the color, including the RGB value, HSL, and even the closest tailwind color. So if you're a developer, you'll probably like that one a lot. But yeah, all the variations of the color that you need in different design software and things like that. Now down here, you can find different shades of the color, and you can copy their hex values just like that, or darkness, different saturations, hues, and the color used in different types of color schemes, as you can see here. And the best thing is you can just scroll to the top and pick a different color, and all of these options will automatically change, so you can easily find a color using the color picker. And there's even the contrast checker here that'll instantly check against a white or black background for the color that you're on, and even shareable images that are great for wallpapers if you want a big solid color image. And that's just scratching the surface of what ColorKit can do. There's plenty of other tools you'll find in the footer, like a color library, and then we have a great blog on the site with tons of articles about color. So join us at colorkit.co, and I hope you enjoyed the video.